Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just going to give it a minute for everyone to log in. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're just waiting 1 minute to leave everyone the time to log in. If you want, while we're waiting, you can tell us where you're joining us from in the chat. Ines and myself, we are in London. Sophia is in Paris. Where's everyone calling from today? Chicago. Chicago is nice. Thanks. Hi, guys. Also, it's nice to see some familiar name in here. Montreal, Manchester. Cool.
Hi, everyone.
New York. Geneva.
Malta.
Bernard. Hi.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Oslo. That's so cool. North Greece.
Hi. Welcome. Thank you for being with us. I think we can start.
Okay.
So, welcome everyone. I'm Sonia and I'm the head of education at Magnum. And I'm joined on this call by Sophia, education manager, and Ines, education coordinator. Together, we are the team behind Magnum Learn, the educational branch of Magnum Photos. Welcome to this info session, during which we will share our upcoming fall and spring programs with you, drawing on our experience in building meaningful workshops, and thanks to the invaluable feedback from participants and input from the Magnum photographers, we continue to innovate in our workshops while preserving the most beloved ones. Our community is growing year after year, and as we remain committed to creating impactful photographic programs, we thrive in bringing together photographers from all over the world to nurture creativity, experimentation, and artistic growth. This webinar will give you a global overview of all the Magnum workshops taking place between now and May 2026. A few are still in development, but if a title catches your eye, you can register your interest to be the first to know when they go live. Following this webinar, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording and a document listing all the workshops with links to the website. There's lots of links in this sentence, but it's true. There will be lots of links. Our presentation will last about 30 minutes, so we have ample time to answer your questions afterwards. We will take some questions along the way and keep others for the end. Feel free to start asking them using the Q&A function. Please don't use the chat for them. And we also won't use the raised hand function. So really use the Q&A box for your questions. And without further ado, let's start.
Okay, so we're going to start with the first topic of storytelling, visual exploration, and personal vision. These workshops are interesting if you want to learn how to tell a story through images, how to deliver a message through images without denaturing the topic and staying true to yourself. For those who are already familiar with storytelling, the following workshops are also useful to develop your own vision, develop your own way of telling stories so that people immediately recognize that you are the photographer who took the pictures and know what message you wanted to deliver when looking at your series of pictures.
So one of the possibilities for you would be to join the online workshop with Jonas Bendingsen. It's called Curiosity in Practice, and it will start at the end of October. I think one reason why you maybe would like to join this workshop could be because I think Jonas, as a photographer, he's a very practical person. So the idea is that we're going to meet for 5 weeks, once a week. And you either come with a project that you've already been working on, or you start a new project. And each week we meet and you receive feedback, and also Jonas will give lots of tips about how he's been, he's been working in this industry for 25 years now. So he will give, lots of share his knowledge, practical knowledge of how he arrived there, and helping you, then guiding you with your story and how you can apply this to your own project. So that's the idea behind this.
Then we have Moises Saman in Tokyo, and that's going to be in November. And really the vision of Moises for this workshop is to share his experiences of what it really means to work as a photographer, and that feeling of arriving in a place where you don't necessarily speak the language, or haven't, is the first time you're arriving in this place, and really how do you engage with the place and make work in a very finite amount of time. This is a 5-day workshop, in a way that will resonate with your personal vision, but also have do justice to the place that you visit and the people you might photograph. Moises is going through these questions himself as a photojournalist that works a lot for magazines such as the New York Times. He has photographed in countries that are very difficult to photograph, conflict zones. He has won a Pulitzer Prize this year for the work he did in Syria recently. So it's all of these learnings that also goes into this workshop. And the one in Paris is a very different idea, and that's also in November. It actually takes place during Paris Photo. So it's not only like the possibility to do the 5-day workshop, but also go and see the fairs and the photo books and all of this. But A World in Color is a project that Magnum started this year with Fujifilm, and the project is all about scanning old color slides that had never been seen, and Magnum photographers responding to that old archive in a way by creating new work. And this is exactly what we want to recreate in this workshop. So Lorenzo is curating an archive about Paris from these old color slides, which will be shared with participants who will then create their own response to that curation, which is quite fun and a way to see how Paris was photographed by Magnum photographers in, I think, mainly 50s and 60s. And there's also one session with our archive producer who will teach you how to digitize your analog films, but also how to organize your digital archive in a professional way, in the Magnum way. This is me still. Okay. So sorry. In 2026, we continue in that same themes, and we continue in Tokyo, where we've been starting doing more things after COVID, basically. And so there's 2 workshops taking place at the same time, Cristina De Midel, Lorenzo Belloni. So they're taking place in the same space, but separately. Christina's idea of her workshop is really setting you off on this wild journey in Tokyo, and really using fiction in the way you see the city. And she will, if you're not familiar with Christina's work, she really uses a lot of props, the uncanny in her photography, and this is what is going to go into this workshop. And the one with Lorenzo will be, he really wants to do Tokyo by night. So the schedule of the workshop will be also organized around this. And his idea is really to have working with long exposures, seeing how this city who has so many artificial lights how can this look like in photography. And at the end of that week, the 2 groups will merge on the last day, so there will be the possibility to see the work of the participants in Christina's workshop and Lorenzo's workshop.
Then the In Focus workshop will take place in March with Matt Black. This is our workshop number 7 with Matt Black, and each time we receive lots of feedbacks from the previous participants explaining how useful it was for them and how it allowed them to grow in their practice. Matt will guide you in the process of finding your own way of telling stories, but he'll also be able to help you improve your skills when it comes to taking photographs.
And then last but not least, the workshop with Richard Calvar in Paris, also at the end of March. So this workshop is more, if you're interested in street photography, then it's definitely the workshop for you. I mean, Richard is well known for being one of the masters in street photography. I think what you can expect from that workshop is to learn. Maybe, if you always wonder, okay, how can I get closer to people in the street, or how can I be invisible because I always feel like people are looking at me and staring at me, so this is all the questions that you might have, and that Richard will help you to try to give you some tips. And I think another important thing is that Richard always does this with lots of humor, which is always like, it's a friendly atmosphere. His pictures are quite funny, and I think he puts this energy in his workshop as well. So yeah, if you want something like that, I think then the workshop with Richard is the perfect occasion. Maybe then we move on.
Yep. So professional development will be useful for photographers who would like to professional themselves. So if you feel like you are almost done with your project but don't know what the next steps are, know how to get in touch with professionals of the industry, then the following workshops are definitely for you.
So we have our individual mentorships. So the idea behind the individual mentorships are that you have 8 sessions with a photographer of your choice. It's really, in order for you, it's sessions that are tailored to your need. So they are very flexible, and it can be, you can discuss whatever you feel is useful for your practice. So it can be about photo book, about an exhibition, about sequencing, about just receiving feedback. And I think it's really, it's a flexible format, and it allows you to work at your own pace because so you have 8 sessions that are between 6 months and 12 months, depending on how you want to do it and how the photographers as well is scheduled, because you do that together. And the idea is really to receive personalized feedback, because it's one-to-one sessions. Voilà.
Then the professional practice in New York. So Magnum has been doing professional practice workshop for, I think, maybe about 10 years. And the idea is using the knowledge that we have as a photography agent to really help you in advancing in the next step in your career. So you have to think, if you have finished a body of work that you think is ready to be shown to curators or photo editors, this is the kind of program that you should join. They always take place over a weekend, and it's a mix of talks and portfolio reviews, and it's always one Magnum photographer who will have been in that moment of his journey that you are finding yourself in, and will share their experiences in, okay, I was also stuck, or I'm like, I didn't know how to approach a photo editor, or I sent this 10 emails to get my first photo book published. And so real life experience that is mixed also with really true, super practical advice from the industry experts that we're inviting. So for the one in November, which is about researching, developing, and publishing your stories, we have someone from Aperture, someone from Photoville, and someone from the Brooklyn Museum that will also come to give a talk and then look at your work during these 2 days. And the one in February, which is the Creative Commissions, we're still working on who we're inviting and finalizing the dates, but it will be really about inviting brands and people that are giving commissions. And so this is, again, this really opportunity to ask all these questions and just make first connections in that sense.
Then online learning and theory is a concept that we started during COVID. This period allowed us to actually try different teaching formats, and we came to the conclusion that there's are as useful as our in-person workshops, and they are also more affordable, which is important for us. If you're currently working on a project at home in your city or country, joining an online workshop will allow you to continue working on it while receiving constructive feedbacks. That means that you will be able to implement those feedbacks in your next shooting session. We also know that being a photographer is sometimes lonely, and depending where you live, connecting with professionals of the industry can be somewhat complicated. So with this online session, you learn the theoretical aspects, and meet experts of a specific topic to whom you'll be able to ask any questions that you wanted that you could not otherwise.
So I already a bit talked about the online workshop with Jonas, but I think just to summarize, the idea is really so you can always either you're already working on a project and you would like to push it further and receive feedback, or you can always start a new project. I think what is really great about this is that, as Sophia was saying, it enables you to continue a project that is close to you, and that, you know, sometimes when you do a workshop and you need to travel somewhere else, you start from scratch in a place that you don't know, and at least this is the opportunity for you to, you know, be in an environment that you know and that maybe you've been already working on. And I think also what is nice about it is that even though it's online and that some people might think, oh, but you know, then there isn't this community aspect, we always try to keep it in some ways and have a WhatsApp group and try for people to, you know, during the week, maybe send recommendation of films that they've seen or photograph or a book that they read or, you know, things like that, so that it keeps, you know, I don't know, a group energy, and that everyone feels that they are supported. So it's still very nice. And then the individual mentorships, I also already mentioned them. At the moment, we have 19 photographers who are official mentors. So to apply, you basically need to submit a portfolio and also the reasons why you think you need a mentor. Um, Obviously, if you have a photographer that you really would like to work with and that the photographer is not in that list, you can always contact us, and you know, we might be able to ask that photographer if he would be interested. But yeah, just to note that you can apply, but it doesn't mean that you basically have the mentorship.
Just to add, sorry, Ines, to cut you, but there's a question in the chat from Isabella about the individual mentorship. She's asking which photographers will be available for online mentorship in 2026. So because, as Ines just said, there is 19 of them, I've just put a link in the chat to this dedicated webpage on the website. So you can take a look, Isabella, and see, you'll have all the names there.
And if I know that sometimes it's a bit, you know, you can feel a bit overwhelmed because you're not sure which photographer is the best for you and for your needs. I'm always available, so you can always send me an email, and then we can organize a call and discuss this together, so that we find, you know, a mentor that can actually reply to your needs, because obviously, you know, some photographers are maybe a bit better at sequencing, or they feel more comfortable with some aspects, you know. So we can definitely talk about this together, and we can make sure that you find a mentor that can help you for what you need. So that was individual mentorships. And then for the online seminar, so basically the idea behind an online seminar is what Sonia was talking about, the professional practice, but it's online. So this one is going to be about on publishing photographs. So it will be 4 sessions of about 1 hour and a half, and you'll have Magnum photographers and industry experts who will come and discuss different themes. I mean, everything on publishing photographs. We'll have 4 different sessions. The first one should be about photo books and the history of photo books, and the ones that have been, you know, kind of like very important in the history of photo books. Then we'll have another session focusing really on the photo book and how, you know, how do you start, how do you then publish it, and all the questions that you can have. There will be another one about the design and the printing aspects. And then we wanted also to have a fourth session about magazines, because we think that sometimes it's something that we don't discuss that much, but that actually lots of photographers and collectives are starting, like have been doing and continue to do. And we think that it's a very interesting aspect. So we'll be discussing this as well. So this is still in progress, but if you are interested in everything that I just said, you can register your interest, and yes, that was for online.
Inside Out. So Inside Out is kind of Magnum Lens Festival. Every year for a week, 4 Magnum photographers gather together in the same city to host workshops and lectures that are open to the public. The first edition took place in Tirana in Albania. The second one was in Sarajevo in Bosnia. And for the third year, we are very happy to announce that Inside Out is taking over Yerevan in Armenia, and that for the very first time, we're also launching Inside Out in the United States, in Philadelphia. So if you're looking for a week surrounded by 40 people sharing the same passion, interrogations, sometimes thoughts, and you're willing to dive deeper in your photography journey, this program is for you.
Nice. And also, this is one of the very few where the whole team travels together. I mean, for yes, for Philadelphia, there'll be a big Magnum team as well. So Philadelphia, we will have 3 photographers. Jérôme Cecchini, who has been teaching on the Inside Out program for the last 3 first sessions. What did we say? Well, is a veteran of the program. Yael Martinez and Sabia Chimen. For Jérôme's workshop, he wants to, it's a very traditional, all of these workshops are 5 days. And this Philadelphia would be in April and Yerevan in May. So 5-day workshop, and Jérôme, we really follow the traditional shooting workshop that we have in place. And for him, it's really, everyone will be asked to start researching the story idea before arriving in Philadelphia. Then they will be asked to send that to Jérôme. There will be an info session before online for everyone to meet, but also kind of check that your ideas are feasible in this time. And then during these 5 days, under that time constraint, you'll take and make a body of work in Philadelphia. Jérôme knows the city very well. He has worked there. And that's also quite an interesting aspect of this workshop. Then there's Yael Martinez, who for photography has transformation from capture to collage. And Yael, in the last years, 5-6 years, has started to physically work on his pictures. So he is either, for example, printing them and making little pinholes in them so that the light can come through, or he has made collages as well in some instances. And this is exactly what is going to happen during this workshop, either with work that you're going to make in Philadelphia during the week, or existing work. You'll then have to physically change these images or try to expand the meaning of your work through this physical interaction with the work. And the last one, Sabia Chimen Beyond the Conventional, is an idea that came from a commission she did for Squarespace a few years ago, where she really reacted and used the funny and the uncanny into her images using props or sometimes visual tropes to convey her message. And that's really what we want to do in this workshop, bringing the sense of humor, looking for how do we take a subject and maybe twist it a little bit in something completely different. And that's going to be the experiment with Sabia. So this is for Philadelphia in April.
And then for Yerevan, so there will be one with Olivia Arthur on portraiture. We did it last year in Sarajevo. I think it was very interesting for if you're looking to really improve your skills when it concerns portraiture. The idea is that we're gonna do one day we have a studio where you'll be able to experiment with lights and props. Olivia has been, I mean, she just published a new book called Murmurings of the Skin, and there is quite a lot of portraiture in that book. And then she's also been working a lot on fashion. So she knows a lot about this, and I think she's the perfect person to guide you if you feel that in your work you've been missing this part. I think then it's the perfect occasion to have 5 weeks to just focus on this, and also to kind of I think it's interesting because most of the time when we think about portraiture, we have a very, the same idea of like what a portrait is. And I think it's quite interesting because she really challenges this and she pushes you to think out of the box. And I think sometimes it's needed, so it's really nice.
Then there is Sketch Your Photo Book, and this is Rafael Milak and Anya Mila working together. Rafael, Magnum photographer, Anya, incredible photo book designer. We have done this workshop with them before, and this is really if you have a body of work that you feel is ready to be turned into a photo book, or if you want to experiment with the idea of photo book, even though you don't have that body of work yet, I think this is really a workshop to follow and join. It will be as much about you working with your existing work or taking pictures in Yerevan, but that it will be about design and what does it mean to incorporate design at the heart of photography. And throughout the week, there will be a lot of editing, sequencing, a lot of working as a group to kind of get the feedback from your peers, understanding how your peers see your idea of your story, how it is received by them. And then towards the end, where you'll have a finished book dummies, which book dummy is not a photo book. It's really something that can be stitched together, but we'll have a sequence, chosen number of images that will be, and some ideas of book covers and different type of paper, and all of those things that goes into the making of a book.
Then Armenian field notes will be led by Antoine Dagata. So when he actually went to Armenia for an assignment, he passed by the city of Alaverdi and was impressed by the landscapes. The city is surrounded by mountains, but the town also still reflects the influence of its Soviet past. So the workshop will be held in the two cities. You'll start in Yerevan, then you'll go to Alaverdi with your peers and Antoine, and then you'll come back to Yerevan. So in Antoine's workshops, there's a lot of philosophy. You have to be ready to question yourself, your work, and to always kind of push yourself beyond your limits. Then Lua Ribera's workshop, Create and Curate Shaping Work for the Wall, is one of our newest formats, actually. We often have lots of questions on how to turn a body of work into an exhibition. And in this workshop, this is actually what we are going to learn. Working all together on the same topic but on different angles, Lua will help you create a curation and set up an exhibition that will then be open to the public at the end of the week.
Nice.
The scholarships. So this part is very important for us, and just so you know, we try to offer scholarships for most of our workshops.
So in this case, we have 6 scholarships for Philadelphia, which are open to photographers in Philadelphia, and 8 scholarships for Armenian photographers and linked to the program in Yerevan. And the time, basically, you guys on this call get to know about this earlier than everyone because the open call is actually launched on the 1st of October. So does the general communication about Inside Out. So everything is coming out next week. And this is the timeline. This timeline is for the scholarships only.
What does it mean to join a Magnum workshop?
We wanted to talk a bit about the vibe of our workshops because I think it's quite important and lots of people sometimes wonder what it feels like. I think one aspect that I personally always kind of feel is the community aspect because Magnum workshops are always, with people with very different backgrounds, sometimes professional, sometimes non-professional, but all there to, learn and just like help each other, which is always really nice. People often create friendships out of it. And we try to organize, especially for example with projects like Inside Out, we try to organize meals together or sometimes drinks. I mean, we just want you to be together, to have also this informal space sometimes out of the workshop, to be able to also share your thoughts, your questions, and things like that. So I think that's one aspect. A second aspect, I think, comes from Sonia, Sophia, and I. I think as a team, we are a small team, but we always try to be super supportive and really caring. We really care about you guys, and we want you to feel like you're in a safe space where you can actually push your boundaries, where you can learn, where you can, feel a bit sometimes vulnerable because depending on your project, it can be tough. But yes, I think I just wanted to say that as a team, we are always here. We always, able to, if you need for a coffee or if you have questions, and it's really important for us to create that space.
To also add from what Ines just said, I think joining a workshop is actually a gift that you make to yourself, that you do to yourself. It's days or weeks that you take for yourself, for your patient, to improve, to meet people, and I just think that's very important.
And I think also one of the things that we see happen is that everything that you will learn or some of the experiences that you will have during this week will stay with you long after the workshop is finished. We always encourage people to take notes during the workshop because sometimes you're going to reread these notes maybe 6 months later, and then something that maybe hadn't caught your attention at that moment will suddenly make sense and you'll be able to put this into practice. And so this is also, it's an investment in time and in money, but it's also something that will stay with you for a long time afterwards. And if you're lucky to be on a workshop with Ines, she bakes amazing banana bread for the group. And that's, I think, also another nice reason to join.
That's
I mean,
true.
guys, I don't promise that.
What?
But I'll try.
Too late now.
So, yes,
Yeah,
at the
we just
community
wanted to
spotlight.
talk quickly about the community spotlight. I think it's something that we started about a year ago, and it's really to give you the opportunity to showcase your project and what you've been doing. If you have participated already in workshops, but also if you have never done one. I think it's a nice way to show everyone in our community and what is happening. So if you would like to take part in it, you can tag us in Magnum Learn and use the hashtag Magnum Learn community. And we do a selection and we curate approximately each month, but it depends, it varies. So yeah, it might be the opportunity for you to get a little, showcasing of your work on Instagram, and it's always nice. So yeah, if you would like to do that, I encourage you to do so.
So to do this, you can start by following us on Instagram if you want to. We are at Magnum Learn. You can also, for those of you who want to subscribe to our newsletters, I've just put the link in the chat, and then the best email to reach us is education@magnumphotos.com. So we're just going to go through your questions now. I'm just going to go take them one by one in order they come. There's one for you, Ines, from Oda. asking for the individual mentorships. Does acceptance depend mainly on the strengths of our portfolio? What criteria do participants need to meet in order to be considered?
I don't think it's not really there isn't really criteria, I think. It's more I mean, first it depends on the photographer, and sometimes, at the moment where you want to start, they might be a bit busy or things like that. I think it also depends definitely on what you're looking for, what you expect from that mentorship, because I think more than the strength of your pictures, it's more about really what you're looking for. Because then the photographers, I mean, obviously, if we call before and we discuss what you want, then maybe, you'll be already picking a photographer that will be, that can answer your questions. But sometimes people apply and they're not really sure about, it might be just because, oh, this photographer, I love his work. But then when they write why, what they need, when the photographer receives this, it doesn't really make sense for him because, for example, it's not something that he feels confident with or that kind of things. So it's really not about really your portfolio in that sense. It's more about really what you're looking for and what kind of skills, or if yeah, I hope that makes sense.
And I think if I can add, sometimes really your motivations in joining will be also how you frame and shape your motivation for joining will also be what also helps or has an impact as well for the photographer.
Yeah.
Then there is a question from Andrea asking if there is any plan for making photography as transformation from capture to collage online. Unfortunately not. There will be, actually, we have one more online workshops that we're going to announce that it will take place in February, but because everything is still pretty much in the make, we didn't include it here. But this one specifically, we wouldn't do this online simply for the very analog nature of it. We want everyone in a room with scissors and cutters and tapes and things like this. Is it a requirement to be a resident of the city of Philadelphia to apply for a scholarship for the workshop? It will be a requirement to have an address in Philadelphia.
And then one from Leo, are there any scholarships open to students not from the two locations? I'm particularly interested in the Yerevan location after visiting several years ago. Unfortunately, for Yerevan, no, it's only open to Armenians. And unless you are an Armenian living abroad, it's not. So yeah, for those workshops, no, but maybe when we will have other opportunities, it will be open to like other photographers coming from all around the world. The criteria always depends on the workshop, basically.
And in this, it's also why we encourage you to sign up to the newsletters and follow up on Instagram. But we as a team are constantly looking for partnership to offer funded possibilities for photographers. And so there is regularly call for applications to join free programs, but it's hard for us to communicate about them before we sign something, basically. So at the moment, this is about Yerevan. And I think it's also important, we haven't mentioned this, but both for Philadelphia and in Yerevan, we are supported by local organizations. In Philadelphia, it's the Public Trust, and in Yerevan, it's a photography institution called 4+. And the scholarships is also, they are the one deciding on the criteria. And I think this is also because it's important for them to be able to support the local photographic community. And this is a way to achieve this.
Where can we get the dates for the 2026 workshops you talked about? On our website, basically.
And you will receive it we're going to send a PDF to everyone, and you'll have all the dates, all the links, so everything will be in there.
Is there a new on-demand pre-recorded course on the horizon? I've watched all 8 available courses. They're amazing and affordable. This is Michelle. including Curiosity in Practice, and was wondering when the next one will be released and who the host will be. We really agree, Michelle. It's true, we didn't mention them here, but I'm going to put the link in the chat for everyone. These are amazing courses. We use them a lot for the workshops. There is a new one, but we're not allowed to say anything about it. But you'll have to wait for maybe a year. These courses take a lot of time of pre-production in terms of like the research, what the photographers practice, to the filming, to then the editing and putting everything together. But it's coming.
I think this one is for you, Ines. Is there a discount for persons who attended previous workshops?
Well, so for example, for Inside Out, we have early birds. So if you actually sign up before the 16th of November, you have a 10% 10%
Discount?
Count?
Thank you. You have a 10% discount. At the moment, we did this for some workshops. For these ones, at the moment, we didn't put any discounts for past participants.
And the question from Andrea, any plans on scholarship for other workshops as well? So as I was saying earlier, there will be more free opportunities coming up. You just have to check the website or Instagram or the newsletters.
Are there any plans on doing a workshop with Jacob Awesobol again?
Yes, most probably sometimes in the summer of 2026.
Christina is asking, I am really interested in joining more than one of the online courses. Do you offer any discounts or packages for who want to follow multiple courses? I
I
don't know.
think, I mean, it's a good question. We only have one online workshop at the moment available. And I think the question is about the individual mentorship and the online workshop. In that sense, there wouldn't be any discounts or packages because they are two different programs. And then for the online courses, as we only have one, then we haven't released the second one yet. There will be maybe an update by the time we release it regarding offering participants discount for the second one. It's a possibility. The format is going to be slightly different than the one we're doing with Jonas. So it's possible.
Which workshop or photographer would you recommend for critics or portfolio review?
Professional practice.
True. The professional practice might be a good opportunity actually because you will meet both Magnum photographers but also professional of the industry. So that means that you will have plenty of portfolio reviews during like 3 days. And there will also be so many other photographers that are here for that you can also discuss your work with them. So yes, joining a professional practice would be the most interesting thing to do.
This one is for you, Ines. I'm a cinematographer. I wonder if taking Jonas Bendingson workshop would be possible without having an ongoing photo project. Is it?
Yeah, of course it is. That's what that's what I tried to say, but maybe it wasn't super clear. But yeah, basically the idea is that um, either you have a project and you want to continue it, or you really want to start from scratch. I mean, especially for you, for example, if you were not really into photography or like, it's been something that you've put a bit on the side, is definitely the good opportunity for you to start something and to also give the space, because I think sometimes when we are in our daily lives, we don't really take the moment to actually go and take pictures. So I think if you sign up, is that kind of push of like, okay, each week you need to come with pictures. So you need to go out and to, go and shoot. So I think it's a good opportunity to push yourself to start something and then receive feedback from Jonas and also all his knowledge about photography, which is enormous. So you can definitely.
Are there scholarships for mentorship programs?
No, I'm sorry.
But in some instances, some people have received funding for them. So maybe this is something that you can
That's true.
look into.
That's true. That's a good. That's a good.
And I'm saying that I'm really sorry because I'm making an assumption, but Nordic countries do give scholarships for these kind of things, and so that's maybe something that you can check.
Yeah, check like regional program or state program because it's true that I had people who managed to get a mentorship thanks to this. So you should wherever you're coming from, I think it's interesting to have a look.
Berna is asking, after the course in Sermione with Jacob and Sonia, which do you suggest? Which you do suggest for next year?
I'm glad you're asking, Bernard. I think I need to think a little bit about it, but maybe I think I was going to say the summer course in Marseille, but we haven't talked about it here. The one with Jérôme in Philadelphia, I think would be an interesting follow-up after what you've done in Sermione. And maybe also Lorenzo either in Paris or in Tokyo. That would be my suggestion, but if you also are not sure, this is something that we're going to say to all of you, and then maybe we'll take some time in replying. But if you have more questions after this, please email her and we will take the time to answer. So maybe we can also discuss by email to make sure that this is the right one. But from what you had done last year in Sermione, this for me would be the ones to start with.
Albi is asking, I am new to Magnum Learning and was wondering, are there some gear requirements to join physical workshops, or we are free to use whatever gear we have, and like, do the costs cover any accommodation or transportation during workshops? Thanks.
That's a good question. For the equipment, we don't require any specific equipment. I think what is really important is just that you use something that you feel comfortable with. Like photographers say that you're a friend with. You need to find the camera that you're a friend with and use that one. And I mean, I know your question was specifically about that, but also for analog camera, because we get this question quite often. It's possible to use, if you're using an analog camera, to use it, but the only thing is that most of the workshops require you to come the following days with pictures. So it's often, depending on where you are, it can be quite difficult to get your pictures developed that, quickly. So if you manage to do that, then we definitely are happy for you to do, to use an analog camera. But if it's too difficult, we usually recommend people to go with digital because it's just easier. So that's for the equipment. And then
Accommodation and transportations, they're not included in the cost of the workshop. And just to sorry, Ines, go.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to say, but for example, Sophia was talking about Yerevan and the workshop with Antoine, and so the intern travels if within the workshops are included, but for you to come to Yerevan, it's all it's your charge.
And just to add to what Ines was saying about camera gear, actually it's a very good question. And be thanks for asking it. But you will see that in a lot of the workshops, the discussions are about your personal vision and what you want to say. Using photography and any medium works in that sense. And a lot of Magnum photographers really are not interested in what camera you use to get to that stage, which is it's very free in that sense.
Daniel is asking, sorry.
No, go.
Okay. Hello, I missed the start of the webinar. Will it be available to rewatch in future? Many thanks. Yes, definitely. I think we are going to send you the recording of the webinar, and I think, if I'm not wrong, it's going to be uploaded on YouTube, no?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
it will be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not live, but at least at the end on YouTube.
Okay, next one is Sharon asking, will you consider adding more online workshops for international photographers outside the US and Europe?
Yes,
we want to.
we are trying. We are trying really hard to try to, because we know that most of the time the online workshops are either on a European standard time, or even the US. We didn't really do something that was for if you are on the West Coast. So we are trying. We hopefully next year we'll be able to offer online workshops with different timings, so that it's easier for people all around the globe to join.
You want to
Yes, I can do the next one. Hi, Stefan, who says, I did the Inside Out in Sarajevo with Susan Meslas, which was fantastic. Thank you so much. Which course would you recommend as a good follow-up? I do think also because we talked about it in Sarajevo, but I think staying in the Inside Out program is maybe something really good for you. And staying in Eastern Europe it's always hard to do these things, because it's like, oh, I feel like I'm deciding on your travel plans. But so either Inside Out Philadelphia or either Inside Out Yerevan. I think either of the two. Maybe the one with Antoine Dagata in Yerevan could be, there is that counterculture aspect of it, which maybe will resonate with you. Or Jérôme Cessini in Philadelphia, but maybe the same as Bernard. If you email and tell us a little bit what you're looking to get out of it, we can guide you a bit better.
Can I just say that this is true for everyone? I mean, we are always available, and if you feel like, we can organize a call one-to-one, and if you want to ask, questions, very specific things about what you think you need, we can take the time. So yeah, don't feel free to email us, and we'll make the time.
Leo is asking, I am interested potentially in the Magnum Spears collaboration course on documentary photography. Would you suggest that courses you offer would be useful stepping stone to them, or do they cover the same things? That's an interesting question.
I think it's a good question. So we haven't talked about the Magnum Speos documentary photography course, because it actually just started last week, and then it's a one-year program that takes place in Paris in collaboration with Speos, and at the end of it you have diploma, which is the equivalent of a BA. This is our only course that gives a university diploma at the end. We give certificates that are useful to apply for grants and get access, but this one really gives you the equivalent of a BA. Whether you need to do I think this is a 1 year commitment in Paris, and in there you're gonna go so much more in depth in terms of understanding what you can learn as a professional. There is a huge professional side in the course that will also, maybe you'll feel more equipped to really start as a professional photographer at the end of this 1 year. And this is definitely something that not necessarily happen on a 5-day workshop, because it's really about creative development, the 5-day workshop. The Magnum Speos course will be about creative development, and that's what we teach on the Magnum side, and professional development, which is the Speos side. At the end of the year as well, in the Speos Magnum course, you have an exhibition in Paris, which also doesn't happen, not on the professional level that we organize it in Paris. That doesn't happen on the 5-day course. So I guess it's kind of for you to think about. There is the workshops that we offer in this webinar. They're very specific in what they teach. They point on very specific creative development in photography. They are short in time, and I think it's for you to weigh your option and see what makes sense for you in that settings. Thank you. I'm happy it was helpful.
Maria is saying, I can't find in the website a workshop for Jonas Bendixen with details and prices, etc. Oh, no, I can find it. However, I don't seem to be able to find detailed pages for the other on-demand courses. Are they accessible?
No, so I mean, if you're talking about the other online, which is the online seminar, the online seminar will be on the website a bit. I'm not sure when exactly, but we're still working on it. So that's why in the PDF that we will send, you will have a link where you can register your interest, and whenever it's live, you will receive an email so you can sign up. And then if you are talking about the mentorships, then you need to scroll down the page and it's at the end, and you have individual mentorships, and then you check all the photographers and all the information about this.
I also send you a link to it. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the VOD. Yes. 1 second. I'll put the chat again. It's in the chat, but I'll send it to you again. 1 second. This one. That's the one you want. We know that the website can be torturous sometimes. This is what happens when you work for a company that is 80 years old. We're trying to catch up with the 21st century.
Do you have any other questions? If not, or if it comes later, as Ines and Sonia said previously, you can always email us, and we will be more than happy to answer your questions or meet you and call you.
Yes, thank you so much, because we have seen that a lot of people were new into joining this webinar. So thanks, and we are really here to help you. And also, it's nice to see the familiar name. And thanks also for being here today. That was nice to see your names, if only names.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good
Bye
night,
bye.
evening or day or wherever you are.
Bye. Ines, you are the host, you have to end it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You.